Evo.
Hello, you are at the net, and welcome friends to another episode of the At the Net podcast, powered by Tex-Mex Productions. Working the soundboards in the back of the house are our producers, D-Mac and Dave the Brain. Time to say hello to your hosts, Craig Bell and AJ Shabria, as they're about to take us through 3 sets of tennis, talking hello, you are at the net, and welcome friends to another episode of the At the Net podcast, powered by Tex-Mex Productions. Working the soundboards in the back of the house are our producers, D-Mac and Dave the Brain. Time to say hello to your hosts, Craig Bell and AJ Shabria, as they're about to...
Okay.
We had 2 At the Net podcast girls.
Right.
We had 2.
Okay, should we try it again?
Continue, go with it.
Okay.
Yeah, we're rolling.
Well,
That's
anyway,
great.
all right, thanks to our At the Net podcast girls. That'd be girls.
Margot Carter and Margot Carter's Echo.
That's right, in stereo. That was mini me, kind of like, mini Margot and Margot right there. For that, the word of the day is primo. Primo, AJC. Primo introduction. Welcome, fans of the great game. You're listening to Season 1, Episode 64 of At the Net Podcast with AJ Chabry. That would be the great AJC. And CB1, that's me. We are talking the great game of tennis as it
seems to us.
Thanks also go out to our good amigos at Tex-Mex Productions. That would be one Dave the Brain DeLeo from back of the house who's on the soundboards this evening. He's moving the dials and buttons to make us sound and look like real people. We're real people tonight.
We are real. We're not Memorex. We're on YouTube. This is what, our second or third one on YouTube.
Yeah. We're
That's kind of cool.
Actually, I'm a hologram, so I'm not really. I'm not really here, but Dave's superimposing me. Green screen. I'm at home. Also, be sure to check out our good work on Fireside, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Anchor, Breaker, CastBox, Overcast, Pocket Cast, Radio Public, and Spotify. Basically, that's all the important communication sites the kids find popular today, right?
That's it.
Yeah. And if you're female, sorry, dudes. Nope, we don't want no.
There's plenty
no
of dudes in this house,
That's
so
right.
yeah, it's good to have a female voice.
It is. We'd like to read the opening intro for our ATN podcast and be an ATN net girl. Let us know. We're always looking for a new female voice, but it's tough to replace Margot Carter. Right there. Yeah. She's on top of the. She's a primo.
She's good.
Right.
She's so good.
And speaking of primo, we have the great Cameron Lickle. How you doing tonight? That's a primo guest right there.
How you guys doing?
Yeah, we're doing
Wonderful, Cameron. So glad to have you on the show, man. It's going to be good.
Yes, yeah. Well, Cameron looks like we were running a little podcast fun and games with Hair, and I think he might be an entry into our tournament, best hair tournament.
Hair and beard. And,
yeah.
I know Cameron is his own thing, but I happen to be wearing a Richie Tenenbaum hat today in honor of Cameron because you could probably, all you need is the clothes and a headband,
right?
And you got it.
It was one of my favorite scenes when he sits on the court and
takes his shoes and socks off. He puts his socks down. So good, man.
So good.
Yeah. Well, we're glad to have Cameron on tonight. He's a well-respected tennis professional in our neighborhood community, and we certainly appreciate. Where are you from? Where are you coming from tonight, Cameron? Where are you at?
I'm in home down in Palm Beach, Florida.
Okay.
We've been here kind of isolated and quarantined for the last 8 months. So
you guys are still under that, huh?
Yeah, man, I'm freaked out about everything. And
I'm sorry.
The missus, we've kind of just sheltered in, and which has been good though, because I've been able to work on all the projects that I've needed to work on. So
gave you some time to work on a couple of things we'll probably talk about here in a couple of minutes. But Florida is kind of opened up again, right? Or is this a personal?
I mean, it's opened up, but I'm so out of touch with reality, to be honest. Because again, we've just isolated. We haven't gone out. We've been quarantined. We haven't done anything public. So everybody says it's opened up, but I couldn't tell you what's really going on in the real world.
Well, nothing wrong with that. At least you probably don't have any of the COVID, so you're COVID free right now, especially on Zoom. We're COVID free too, aren't we?
We are.
Nice. You guys happy? Healthy, safe, all good on you guys' end?
Thanks for asking. We are happy and healthy. I voted, as you can tell by my my cup, so I'm happy. Kanye West is also happy.
Maybe. He might be happy. You never know.
He's
right?
not on the ballot, but they let me write stuff in sometimes. So
Right.
yeah, Kanye.
Yeah. Every once in a while we let him out of the house. He's out of the house tonight, so no telling what AJ might say tonight. But Cameron also has a very interesting background for those listeners who are interested in Cameron Lickle, a Navy veteran. Thank you for your service. You've done 2 tours of duty, right?
Yeah, no, pleasure. Thank you for thanking me. But this seems so long ago. That was such a past life of mine.
And were you in what part of the Navy were you in a sub or were you in a boat, ship? What'd you do?
I was a nuclear surface warfare officer, graduated the Naval Academy, so they make you do 5 years active duty. Served a tour overseas in Japan, brought over the 31st MEU that took over Fallujah in 2004. Went to nuclear power school and prototype and learned how to run a nuclear reactor, and did another deployment over to the Gulf and launched buku bombs on bad guys for a while.
Yeah, good.
Well, thank you for your service, because that means we're very friendly to the military on this this podcast. Others might not be so friendly, but we appreciate you and your service, and it means a lot because we're able to be talking freely, and so we appreciate the good work that you did along with your Navy vets as well. So it's very nice.
Another thing he did for the Navy is play on the tennis team and serve as a captain.
Yeah,
that's kind of cool too, man.
You're right.
It was very cool. It was like I miss that so much, just the college tennis aspect of it, and oh my gosh, that was some of the most fun days.
Yeah, Annapolis has got to be just a special place, right?
Unbelievably special, right? Just I miss the, if I could say it, I miss the idea of 5,000 strangers being together, and if you pluck one of them, they're most probably a good person. Whereas if you ever put 5,000 people together just randomly, that will never happen.
Yeah.
And something about everybody with the common mission, the same goal. It's really that part is so special that it's hard to recreate that in life.
So I'm interested. We're going to do 3 sets, and first set we always kind of go with your background in tennis, and the second set is kind of current and future projects, and then third set is some pop culture. I'm really interested in hearing how you got to the Naval Academy. We'll kind of peel back from the Naval Academy, because I think that's always fascinating. Because you have to have 2 references from senators? Is that correct, or some type of congressional folk to be able to attend a service academy? Isn't that correct?
Correct. Well, so I'll just give you a quick background. I saw, how they have Shark Week on TV?
Mm-hmm. Sure.
So they also have Academy Week, and I remember watching it my junior year, and it gave me goosebumps, and I turned to my buddy. I said, that's what I'm going to do. And he goes, there's no chance, because I was a little bit of a hellraiser in high school. And to your point of needing the nominations, my first nomination, I flew down from New Jersey, and I think it was Senator Connie Mack, and I blew it, like straight up blew the interview. Because I remember sitting in the waiting room. I was 3 hours early. All these JROTC kids were coming in who wanted this no matter what. I remember going in thinking I don't know if this is really for me. And asking me questions. I blew the interview, called my father, said there's 0 chance I got it. And then the second interview I had was from Congressman Clay Shaw. And I remember sitting in the waiting room, and the guy that I was sitting next to wasn't as sharp as the other guys from the Connie Mack interview. And I go, okay, I'm going to blow this dude out of the water.
Literally.
I was walking out of that going, 100% I got that nomination, for sure. So it was, I remember those experiences very well.
So how did you start getting involved in the great game? Were you a little guy, like 4 or 5 years old, parents played, grandma just saw it on TV and thought it'd be cool?
No, I think mom, put a tennis ball in a stocking and hung it from the awning and said, go hit the ball and entertain yourself. And ever since I was a kid, I remember it was between that and baseball, and eventually you have to choose one or the other, and tennis was it.
So did you grow up in the New Jersey area? Is that correct?
Grew up in Florida originally, and then, mom remarried, moved to Boston.
Gotcha.
So moved to Boston, and then went to boarding school in Jersey, which was a feeder school for the Naval Academy.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. Yeah, because I was doing some background work. I know it said that you were born in Palm Beach, Floridian, Florida. A friend of Kanye West, Florida, right?
That's right.
So you grew up in South Florida, moved up and went to boarding school in the New Jersey area, correct?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Well, and did you play tennis growing up in Florida? Is that where it all started? at Crandon Park or someplace like that?
No. But I mean, all the junior tournaments here, and I would claim Nelta as my junior experience, and that we have a pretty good network of Nelta guys that are still keep in touch, and with strangely enough, I reconnected with Jamie Saratani. If you double specialist on the tour, still doing it, and it's been a nice network of guys, I got to say.
That's great, and I love that you still call it Nelta. Officially, we read it as USTA New England, which is really boring.
Okay,
yeah, so good. I still say ETA, which is right next door to Nelta, but it's USTA Eastern and USTA New England. Yeah.
Yeah, we say TTA here in Texas. Yeah, it's not USTA Texas; it's Texas Tennis Association. So we're used to saying, TTA. So it's funny how these things have kind of got homogenized over the years. But you grew up playing tennis. Did you play tennis in high school at the boarding school?
I did. I think I surprised the coach when I came out and played because I think it took him for a surprise. But I never was ranked as a junior. I had injuries on my knees. I had ACL reconstructions at 15, 16, and 17. So nobody ever knew who I was. And I got no attention from anyone. So I had to go out and do all my own recruiting for colleges. None of the coaches wanted to look at me. Mm-hmm. And, I got into Boston College and the Naval Academy. But when it came time to decide where I was going to go, I never wanted to. I remember thinking I didn't want to have doubt because I had all my buddies that were at Boston College. And I had gone to the mods. I know what it was like. It was the most fun possible time I could ever have. But I knew I would always say, what would be what would my experience at the Naval Academy have been like? So made that decision to go in, but which I would also say is the same reason I decided to get out to pursue professional tennis, because I didn't want to wonder what I could have, would have, should have been.
Yeah. So growing up in New Jersey, did you play 4 years on the tennis team, or was that a 2 year, 3 year?
Yeah. I played all through because I was actually at school in New England playing on the team there. So I played varsity there from 9th grade on, and then varsity.
So did you play at a club in addition to playing on the tennis team, or did you put the racket down after tennis season's over, start playing baseball, and kind of go from sport to sport, or did you do pretty much year round at what point?
Yeah, no, I actually so good question. I ended up I played football. Mm-hmm. 7th and 8th grade football, and then I kept breaking ankles and elbows, and so Mom said no chance on that. Mm-hmm. So then and baseball was at the same time as tennis, so I had to give up baseball. But then I picked up squash as kind of a recreational activity, and it's pretty similar to tennis, so it was pretty good, and so I ended up playing squash in high school as well.
Did you go to a local club? Was there a pro that inspired you to play it? In addition on the weekends or something like that, one of the clubs up there, was it Cherry Hills? Isn't there a Cherry Hills Racket Club around seemed like there was one when I was the Prince rep. That was a really nice club. We visited that place one time. I only been to New Jersey once.
Cherry Hills, kind of near Philly. Yeah. Kind of an affluent little eastern suburb. Yeah. What part of Jersey were you in?
Lawrenceville.
Right famous school, Lawrenceville. Yeah.
Yeah. It was a really nice experience.
Yeah, I bet you played Del Barton and all those little also private schools, boarding schools.
Yep. Yeah. All of them. It was a nice experience.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
Yeah, it sounds like it. And then after that, moving on to the Naval, did the coach come to you and say, "Hey, Cameron, I'd like you to consider a career at the Navy," or once you saw something on you were talking about on TV, hey, I want to be one of those guys. I want to be a Navy SEAL,
No, the Navy is really great at recruiting you at a really young age. So everybody gets like a letter from the Army or the Navy, I think, starting at 10th grade or something, because they have different rules that they're allowed to start recruiting earlier. But, to be honest, nobody really wanted me. They didn't even really want me. I was like 4th on the roster. And I remember I was competing against a guy named Ryan Wagaspak, Heath Marshall, Chris McGrath. They didn't want, I played 13 my first year, right? Like I got no playing time, nothing. And, but it was I saw it as a great opportunity, not for tennis, but for life. Right. And that was really what I went there for. And then tennis really was an ancillary benefit to to the whole process.
You know, what a great attitude. And how did you go from 13 on the team, or maybe you can even say barely on the team, to captain and being such a leader? What were some of the skills that you acquired?
I don't know. Like I had some great leaders as a freshman that I looked up to that, gave me a lot of confidence in who I was as a person, and, their acceptance of me made me feel really good about myself, I think. And then as the confidence grows and you start to figure it out and you start to see your contributions to people and what effects you might have on people and being able to lead them, it starts to translate, and you keep putting those blocks together, and suddenly all of a sudden you've taken these little steps and now you've climbed a mountain. It's I had good people in front of me.
That's an allegory for improving as a tennis player, or as a student, or as a leader, or as a coach, which we'll get to in a little while too.
Were you always fairly disciplined? I know the Navy, you probably had to be up at 6 and lights out by 10 or 11. That's a pretty regimented life for four years, isn't it?
Yeah, no, it was. But the best way to describe it was less and less of an inconvenience to your life. Like, so the first year that you're there, I mean, it's a shock to the system, right? You eat a lot of humble pie because you go from being big man on a small campus to like literally being less than scum, essentially, to the reality with which you're presented.
Sure.
Wow.
But, in the outside world, you're not a scum, but like you feel like it is because you're the lowest man on the totem pole. And then it gets better and better as you go. And it was a heck of an experience, the whole process, year by year.
It got better the second and third year. I guess the first year was kind of, you're being stripped apart basically and then built back up in the second, third, and fourth year. Is that kind of it?
They teach you how to follow and then to eventually lead. And so, your first year you're called a plebe, right? You have all these rules and regulations. You're not allowed to walk in the hallways. You always have to run. You have to square your corners. Like, I remember the first time I was there, though, because with a dose of reality of what I just stepped into, you go into I-Day, right, which is your essentially boot camp for 6 weeks. It's called plebe summer. And I remember my detailer, which is the equivalent of a drill sergeant, so people understand it. We were having, and I slouch now, which is terrible. But so you have to sit, right, and you eat and you do the square meal. And she was pretty good looking of a detailer. And I remember thinking somehow I say, would you please pass the ketchup? As if I was flirting with her to ask her to pass the ketchup. And then she just lit me up and got in my face, and it was so embarrassing. I go, whoa, what is this? And so that was like the first introduction to it. That was, okay, this is a different world.
Yeah, no, that's I'm sure that the mindset, they have to get you in terminology right with ball. I guess you have to. That I don't think that would be for everybody. So you must have been a fairly organized kid at some point to get to that particular position. I mean, you got to have put all your marbles in a row, or OCD maybe a little bit. Like Rafa. Maybe you've got some things that. Because like me, or
well, Cameron is much more disciplined than me. No, he's in the Navy. He shaves very well. No, I cannot hold a candle to Cameron. No,
that's correct, Rafa. Yeah, I mean, good grief. I mean, this guy is amazing. And then to be captain of the tennis team.
I would compare myself though to Rafa in any way.
Yeah.
No, but no, I don't think. No, the Naval Academy, if this is it helped me focus. It helped my eyes squint, if that's a proper analogy, right? To be able to do those things because you have to do them, right? And you learn to do it because that's what's expected of you. So I don't think that I was organized. I think my housemaster at Lawrenceville, I remember I still have his senior letter that he wrote to me where it was really endearing. Right, like, and it was kind of it was a bit of a jab with like, I'm really proud of you, and I think I was probably the last person people thought would go to the Naval Academy.
Wow! Even though the school was a bit of a feeder to USNA.
Yeah, but as I say that, they also would say you're the last person I would think would go, but you're the first person that
should,
right?
Should or is the guy that would. right? And so I found that always a special thing too.
Kind of a backhanded compliment.
Yeah.
In some ways, like, yeah, you're okay, but, I don't know how the hell you got in here.
Hey, this is going to be a bit of a coachy question, but how big was the environment for you, whether you're talking about in Palm Beach or in Boston or down at Lawrenceville, which is near Princeton University or almost in the same town or county? Tell us how important that environment was and how that might relate to the way you have helped develop very, very good players.
From how I was raised and where I was.
Yeah, I mean, Florida, Boston, or Lawrenceville.
Yeah, I don't know how. That's a good question. That's I think the idea of my experiences in life have allowed me to be able to relate to people better, right? Like just. I've always had to maneuver and to move and to adapt, right? And the ability to do that quickly and efficiently, and also to borderline, to be emotionless about it a bit too, but also have compassion. So it has allowed me to maneuver and to navigate the waters that I've needed to navigate for what I've done for my career now.
Yeah, having known you for 7 or 8 years, of course, the obvious stuff is big, strong guy, fit, hits the crap out of the ball. But the less obvious stuff is how you improvise and connect with people. So I think that was a big deal, and I've seen you in action for 7 or 8 years. So kudos and well done. And you don't always round your corner, square your corners. Now you're able to zigzag a little, huh?
For sure. Well, I mean, I think this was, my 5 years after I got out. I've had a beard and long hair since then, which probably close to actually going mature land. I found the woman that I love. We've gone domesticated. Goodbye, Rolling Stone. Hello, Moss kind of time. And,
love it.
I use the hair though as an identity, because with what I did with WoW, everybody knew me as a WoW guy with long hair.
Yeah.
And as I cut it, there was probably an identity crisis that I would go through. That's why I've kind of kept that, but we can get into all that later.
I love it. That's from here. I love it. Good stuff.
I'm interested also too to think about going back to the Navy. How many people started? How many people actually graduated? So were you in a class of say 500, and then maybe 400 of them finished in 4 years, or do people tap out?
Yeah, we started with 1,300 plus, I believe, and I think we finished under 1,000.
Really, that many people?
Yeah. Each class is about 1,000 to 1,200.
Do they tap basically after the first year, and then by the time they hit the second year, third year? I mean, there's very few that probably leave at that point. Once they're in, they're in. But I would think that first year, that separates basically the men from the boys, kind of thing.
Yeah, well, you get a lot of dropouts in plebe summer right away, right, where they go, sorry, guys, this just isn't for me. And then the people that were there for the wrong reasons, right, because dad told them to, or they were there for sports and decided to go kick for Florida State because that would be a much better career for them. And then, throughout the system, they have strict rules, and some people can't abide by the rules and get kicked out. But by the second year, they have a rule there where if you leave after that time frame, you have to pay it all back. Mm-hmm. So some people go for the 2 years and leave and then transfer to another school, because it's a great way to get into a school that's a little more, that's competitive out there, that you couldn't have gotten into, a la Harvard or Princeton, right? Because you can transferring is, I think, a little easier.
Is the best rivalry in sports Army-Navy?
Hell yeah, of course.
That's got to be something special. I've heard that's the game of any rivalry. Harvard, Yale, OU, Texas. Army, Navy. That's the one everybody wants to go to.
Oh, that is so special, right? I mean, and it's for us, that whole week leading up to it. You're doing things that are just for us so fun, and. It's you have your parades that you march through the streets of Philly. You're out the whole night before and you're just struggling. You're forced to sit at the game, but you're having a ball doing it, and it's really special, right? And it's a lot. It just represents all that is good, right? That's the beauty of what that is, right? It's not about that star on the team or right? It's really about the good in life and representing our country and all just good things. That's what's the beauty of it.
Yeah, two teams that are total service. Both teams have actually committed to being in the service. One's for the Army, one's for the Navy. Need Air Force in there as well, because I've been to the Air Force Academy. That's really a special place as well. I've never, other than just visited and seen the Air Force Academy. Those are special places. But I've heard several times that the game that you want to go to, of any game, is Army, Navy, and Philly at the stadium there.
Oh, it's the best. By the way, and you know that chant, like, I believe that we will win?
Yeah, that started there.
And it started with my classmate.
Really?
This guy, Corey Strong, and he was the cheerleader there. And we started it. And then there became this whole big, America's cry and chant for soccer, and then they did a special story on ESPN about it. But I defy anybody, right? Like, Utah claims that they started it. Like, all these schools stole the chant, right, and claimed it as their own.
Yeah.
And then, but it was great. Like, it became a rallying cry for America. It was beautiful.
Cameron, the name Corey Strong almost sounds made up. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's who it came from, a guy named Corey Strong.
You got to give him the credit, man. It was him.
How many of the 4 years that you're attending the academy? How many years did Navy beat Army?
We won, I think, 3 out of the 4.
How about in men's tennis?
We won my junior year. We only won 1 out of 4, I believe. Right? We had a tough one, but our junior year.
Yeah.
Tell you this story. Our junior year, we get every Naval Academy student gets a loan your junior year. And I could tell this story now because my coach would be so upset. The athletic director would be upset because you cannot glorify alcohol. And you get a loan, and nobody comes out to tennis matches, right? And I was a junior captain, which never happens.
It's always a senior.
Yeah, it's always a senior, but I was a junior captain. And because we didn't have any seniors. It was just by default. But so you go up in front of the brigade, and I had this, my other teammate, Chris McGrath, said, dude, I got this idea. What do you think we rent out a bar, and we make an announcement that anybody that comes to our Army-Navy match, drinks are on us for the night, right? So I went up there at the brigade, and I put the brigade at ease, where you go up to speak, and you're in front of everybody. And I said, brigade at ease, which you're not allowed to do. and I made this announcement that said, hey, look, if you come out and you support us, drinks are on us. There. People came out with rattlers, megaphones, air horns. And we were that Army team was much better than us. They had guys like John Sabia and Arnie Albornoz. And I think I played Arnie that year. And we won. And it was it was just unbelievable. And so everybody kind of kept it under wraps. They didn't want to talk about it, but it was one of my finer moments as a junior midshipman.
Oh, that's excellent.
Was Army mad, about all the noise? I'm sure that there was hooting and hollering.
It was bad. Like, I was playing, and I go, this is very rude.
You kind of think back, ooh, okay. They kind of took it beyond the line of I wouldn't say
rude, very rude. It was obnoxious,
right?
But it was competition. But
right, yeah, that's a funny story. I'm sure that does that tradition continue? Is the team still buying drinks for everybody the night before?
I was the only guy dumb enough to give my money away.
Yeah, it's like when Jeff Spicoli got a reward for being a hero,
yes,
and he blew it on a birthday party with Van Halen playing at his birthday party. It's really that.
Right.
Right. It was like the first sum of money you come into, and you're like, let's go out and promote the cause.
Let's party, dude.
That's awesome. Well done.
Yeah. So after the naval career, you played a little pro tennis, went out there. Tell us a little bit about your time out there on the tour.
Yeah, I mean, there's not really much to talk about. I left the Navy. I was coming up on the 5-year commitment that I had, and I remember thinking, I know what my path is, right? I'm going to do a short tour, then you go back out and you do whatever as an assistant or whatever the path was. And it was too, okay, like anybody can do that. And I remember thinking, I'd spend all my time on watch thinking about playing tennis. And I said, you know what, I'm going to go do it. No coulda, woulda, shouldas from me. And so I got out, and I remember I was living with a buddy in Petco Park in San Diego in this unbelievable apartment. And he ended up finding his wife at the time and said, okay, Cam, you're on your own. And I had no money really saved up, but I was going to play tennis till the money ran out. Had a couple friends in San Diego that lived in a big house, and I said, do you have an extra room? And they said, no, we don't have a room, we have a closet. And I said, how much to live in the closet? And they're like, $200.
Oh, yes.
Wow.
So I moved into a closet, and for the next 6 months, I played, professional tennis.
Yeah.
I remember being known as the guy that lived in a closet in San Diego, and it was like the most fun 6 months I've ever had.
I'm sure.
But, I was grinding it out in Mexico in a Holiday Inn in the futures, and I during that time I ended up meeting Matt's out in Sun Valley, Idaho, Matt's Vielander, and because I got brought out there to, supplement my income by being a ringer for this guy. And the last day I was there, Matt said, "Hey,
let's go hit, huh?"
I've got an yeah. He's like, "Let's hit," and I said, "Oh, I leave tomorrow at 12." He says, "Well, let's hit at 8." And yeah, I mean that one thing led to another. He said, I've got an exhibition against Pete Sampras in a month. You want to come out and get me ready? And I said, hell yeah. And I, went and stayed in his guest house for a couple of weeks and created WOW on the back of a cocktail napkin. And my professional career at that point was pretty much done.
Incredible. And the closet was a lot smaller than the Winnie. So it was like easy to be in a Winnebago.
No, the closet was 4 feet or 3 feet wide by 8 feet long.
And dude, you're at least 6'3". You're a large man.
My clothes were above my head,
Crazy.
Like on a little rack. I lived with the only stuff that I needed. I was sneaking into the Hilton Hotel to use the jacuzzi that I kept getting kicked out of.
Awesome.
Happy hour dollar dinners. It was great. It was like looking back, it was super fun, but it was also super terrible.
Yeah.
At the same time, right? But that was where there was no you didn't have any responsibilities. Like it's a great time.
Thought you might have crashed some weddings also too. Just walked right in. Hey, they look like pretty good food. I know people who do that.
One wedding with a friend during that time. It was one of the most fun weddings.
I bet.
Who are these guys? I don't know, but they're having a good time. They're part of the. Yeah, it's fun to think about that when you're in your 20s. Doing stuff like that. That you look back on, and you go, "Oh man, I hope nobody remembers that I was doing that." But no, Cameron, he could pull that off.
He could pull it off.
He had the long hair. He had the look.
He's
just
ready.
kind of snuck in there. Just kind of, hey,
Back then too, man, I was fit, like so fit. I was on top of the world. That was a fun time in life.
So who'd you play at some of the tour events? Do you remember any names out there that the guests, the listeners might know of? Did you play anybody?
In the futures?
Yeah.
No, like we were the perpetual grinders. I think there was no one. I don't think anybody would know their name of, unfortunately.
But you did have a chance to play with Martina once, didn't you? You had a chance to hit with Martina, yeah, as your partner. Tell us about that. That sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, no, it was an unbelievable experience. We celebrating 25 years of women's tennis at the Connecticut Open. Part of our WOW event. So it was the opening night, and Martina was my partner. We played an exhibition against Mats and Sarah Marino, I believe was her last name. And sorry, Sarah, if I butchered your last name there, it was kind of unbelievable. It was a couple thousand people in the stands, and what am I doing out there and getting to do this? It was I say it with a little self-deprecation, but I'm the most well-known tennis player who's accomplished nothing.
So did she say like, hey, Cameron, we better win this match, or was she kind of cool about like, whatever? Was she super competitive still at that point, or like, nah, I'm just happy to be here and just kind of let's just play, have fun?
It's funny. She so before, right? It's a big deal for me, but obviously to her, it's we played a bunch of Mats and I a bunch of exhibitions. But
sure.
This was next level exhibition, but for them again, it's nothing. But so I'm in the locker room there in the Connecticut Open, and she's in the eating in the cafeteria. I'm like, am I going to talk to her before we play or anything? And no. So you let her do what she wants to do. And then we're going out to get ready, and I'm up in the front, and she's kind of hanging out in the back. So I still haven't talked to her yet or said hello. And then we get introduced, and she comes running up, and as we're getting introduced and walking out, which is this big applause, she turns to me, she's like, what's the name of that dog there, right? And like, it caught me by surprise. I go, I have no idea, right? And so, again, it's Martina, right, who I haven't met either. And we're now we're walking out into this stage that is a huge thing for me. And now she's talking to me for the first time about asking me what the name of a dog is. And I'm trying to like take in all these emotions all at once. And I mean, it was very similar to the like the first exhibition I ever played with Mats, right? Like at Ballin Isles. Like I was more scared to do that than I was to take over a nuclear reactor the first time.
Come on.
Right? It was because it was just so outside of what I had done. Right. Like, again, it was just such a new experience. So, yeah, taking all that in like all at once was like overload.
So were you like the Washington Generals or the Harlem Globetrotters? You know, did Matt's, you know, kind of go like, hey, you know, I'm the guy and you need to play your role, or did you ever take him down every once in a while?
Oh, I was 0-71.
which is not as good as the Washington Generals.
The Generals usually won at least once every 50 times or something. It might should have thrown you a bone every now and then. Like, here, come on, Cameron, take the third set if you want to. Never offered it up, huh?
No, he always said, you can beat me, right? And I'm like, Max, I can't. Like I won't do it.
Yeah, any of the exhibitions that you played, they're not listening right now, so you don't have to worry. Your secret's safe.
We'll keep it quiet, yeah.
Right, we'll keep it quiet right there. But no, those are kind of fun moments, I'm sure, that to be standing there going, gosh, this is Martina Navratilova. Like, what the heck am I doing here?
Yeah, all-time greats.
And then you have a couple thousand people, cheering and screaming. I bet you that was really a fun time to be able to do that, and with Mats too. Be able to get out there and hit some balls with him, and people enjoying your tennis. I'm sure you hit a few shots every now and then. Mats didn't return, let's say a serve or maybe a volley or something like that.
Yeah, but I mean, in the end, like Martina had the best hands of any person. Like I think any volleys of any man or woman out there.
Wow.
And in the end too, right? It doesn't matter who wins. Like whether you're in practice, who wins in practice is so irrelevant. Because again, too, right? Like Mats has 7 Grand Slams.
Yeah.
Who has however many she has too, right? It's like it's just such an experience. It was so great for me to even have those opportunities.
Yeah, no, I would think. Yeah, at the end, they still have Mats still has 7 Grand Slams. I think Martina has something like 50 or something between singles,
if
doubles,
you count mixed. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's way up there.
Crazy.
I mean, her trophy case is pretty large, and she still has it. So it didn't matter, if she won or lost it. It's something like that.
I think she was like almost 50, still winning mixed doubles Grand Slams.
Oh, with Leander Paet.
Yeah,
right. Yeah, I think they won. She was 49 or something like that, wasn't she? Or she was in her 40s, well into her 40s when she won that final mixed doubles.
Amazing lady.
Yeah, no, she had. I'm sure that they probably peppered her with all sorts of shots, and she was just sitting there going, just like butter, AJ.
Like butter.
Unbelievable.
Should we go into the second set? Should we talk a little bit?
Let's do it.
About
second set brought to you by Master Systems.
Yes.
Brilliant guy, Blair Descaret. He's a sponsor and a good friend, and he's actually been a guest on our show. So check out their social media, which is kind of fun. And let's go second set, which we typically, Cameron, we do current and future projects. So I just want to ask you the question that we ask generally at the very end, which is if you could change something in global tennis, what would that be?
Yeah, well, good question. Good lead-in question, right? The
broadcasting school is like paying off then, huh?
Yeah, very, very much so. And it's always hard to answer a lead-in question too, right? It's always no. Well, the one thing I would change, because my niche in the tennis world is very unique, I think, because I created Wilander on Wheels, right?
Yeah.
And like I've always, I think, contributed. By the way, you're at the net behind you, kind of turned off.
No. We're not at the net anymore. Oh, now we're at the net again. Yes, we're here.
Producers all over it.
Right.
But but so again, it's a unique position that I was in, and as my career progressed with it, I expanded the concept. Right, I created the Wow Sports, and then I dipped my toe into the coaching community for a very brief moment, but it was a great time. I learned a lot in 6 months, but what I realized is that I don't like the way that the business is run currently between coaches and players relationships specifically, which everybody I think has an opinion on. But I think that there needs to be more accountability in the sport, and a way for everybody to be valued for their contributions. And that's kind of what I've been on now, a huge crusade in building a program for the last 2 years called Global Tennis Professionals that is setting a very baseline standard of a minimum for good business ethics that, if you meet this standard, well, then I think everybody can cohabitate and harmoniously without having the fisticuffs.
And when you say everybody, you're talking about coaches and players collaborating and behaving ethically.
Yeah, well, I've created a platform that puts everybody under one umbrella: coaches, trainers, academies,
Brilliant.
Athletes, parents, and agents too, because I didn't want to step on agents.
Right.
We just created essentially a uniform way to conduct business with one another that allows coaches to invest their sweat equity into players, and to players to invest into themselves without nickel and diming their own career. And essentially, right, a player can't afford to pay a coach.
Mm-hmm.
Coach can't afford to not be paid. So how do you make it? It's a commodities business, right? It's a race to the bottom of who can charge the least to get these relationships.
That's
and
broken.
Yeah, but and which is fine. It's a free market. You can give all the free lessons you want to, but if something's free, it lacks a value. But also, right, so there's so much to get into this, but as the coach is giving these free lessons, there comes a point in time when that coach can no longer actually be a coach, because for fear of upsetting the player and being fired, they become a yes man or a yes woman, and that player needs to be pushed up that hill, kicked off the couch, right? And if the player says, "Oh, you're annoying, I'm going to the next coach," now you've lost all that sweat equity and time that you've put in. But if you have a way to create a ledger or accountability of, okay, you know what, I get you can't afford to pay me now. You can pay me in the future, and now you can go to any coach you want, because coaches are holding players like possessions too, right? Like it's like, God forbid your player goes and flirts with another coach and has a hit. Coaches go nuts, because they want this exclusivity, because they're giving their time away for free.
Yeah, there's that unhealthy jealousy, and it can affect the communication and the material even.
100%, right? And the whole culture of our industry is like it's without a better description, it's like a blood-sucking leech mentality, right? And everybody will step on everybody else to do what they can for self-promotional purposes. And now we've created a platform that you can use if you choose to use it. There's no requirements to use it. If you're in the system and you come across, somebody that you want training from, and instead of, paying them pennies on the dollar, you can create proper foundational working relationships. We call it deferred compensation, Coaches Collective. We had to give it a cute name, but I think so to answer your question, I think that the whole way that coaches do business and players do business with one another needs to be reset entirely.
It really does. I can't tell you, probably myself included, how many coaches I know who have maybe dipped their toe, didn't love it, felt the negativity or toxicity of that tour coaching or elite coaching mentality, and decided to take a college job or a club job, and they are repeatedly told, geez, you should have done this. Couldn't you have helped me? And there's all these missed opportunities that I think are broken also in this current system.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I would argue our sport loses because the good coaches actually sell out and go to a country club because the country club pays, right? And to to not have that contribution to the sport, we produce a worse product. So how do we get it to have these coaches stay in the game, to be able to be a part of it? And I get it; it's a supply and a demand.
Of course,
and I get the whole, but they're also, if we change the culture and people start to value themselves, right? Then the culture will change. If you look at the sailing community, which I always use as an example, 20 years ago, it was a privilege to be on a boat in, I think, what is it called, the America's Cup?
Yeah,
correct. Yeah,
right. It's a privilege. You put a boat together and you get to do it. Look at today; it's $1 million minimum to put a boat to go into the America's Cup, because they started to value the talent and the contributions of the rigger or I'm not sure of all the names, but. Right. So the culture changed, and the culture, these coaches, we're trying to educate coaches that there's another way to do business. That isn't like living paycheck to paycheck, because in my opinion, making it, and everybody can have a different idea of making it, but making it is not sitting in the box at the US Open, but sleeping in your car. Right. Like that to me, there needs to be a little bit more value added to the livelihoods of them, and some protection and accountability for it.
Does it start with the players primarily, you think, or is it the coaches?
Well, again, I think it's both, because what the players do, in my opinion, nickel and dime their career. And if you nickel and dime your career, you'll never make a dollar. So if you look at all the players like that are, again, this is my opinion, but that are 100 to 1,000 in the world, there's a herd mentality of this is how you do it, right? And if you look at the herd mentality of 100 to 1,000, they're spinning their wheels and they're not doing it the right way. If you look at Jen Brady, who just got herself out of the pack, she invested in a coach.
Yep.
I've heard word on the street is wherever people think of that coach, whether it's a jealousy thing, I don't know them, but all I can say is that, look, here's a girl that went outside the box, invested in herself, paid the coach the right amount of money, but believed in the process, and now she's reaping the rewards.
She got fit. She got the coaching. She went from 112 to number 9 or 10 now.
Yeah.
And it's a really remarkable case study.
And look, again, I don't know the inner dealings, whether she has a sponsor or where she came up with the money to be able to do it, right? Again, there's all these extenuating circumstances. But now we have created a platform where if you want that coach, and you have a coach that actually believes in your talents and is not trying to just blow smoke of saying, oh, yeah, like, because most coaches just want, again, for what the community is of coaches, is usually their resume is a picture and hearsay, right? And they say that they've worked with these people with a picture.
Yeah.
Now, what's the classification of having worked with somebody? So what we have now is archived records of who has worked with who, if you use the contracts first. So people can now go in and now actually see validated resumes. Oh, this guy really did work with, Joe Schmuckatelli, as you say. Right? And now you can call Joe and find out what this coach was like.
Joe Schmuckatelli is actually friends with James Saratani.
Right. They're from back east. They're from Philly, aren't they?
That's it, man.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's what I thought.
I've used that with Jamie too. He loves it.
I love it.
Yeah, right.
Navy thing.
Good. Nav thing. Good.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there are people who I would think that embellish the truth a little bit, and you can't do as much embellishing on the internet as you used to be able to do. There are some politicians we won't mention.
Yeah, there's accountability. It's a little more tracked, and that's what you're trying to bring to a field that's a little less tracked or a lot less tracked.
Well, yeah, and again, I'm not coming in with the perfect answer, but I'm solving a problem that I had, right? And the problem that I had was a big problem, but instead of being the person that just talks about the problem, I literally spent 2 years creating a solution to that problem. So now when coaches and players have a problem, I'm going to raise my hand and say, look, you can't cry about that bad situation anymore, because there is a solution that could have prevented that if you had chosen to use it. You can still do whatever you want, but I want to make our sport better. I want to make it so that people can work together in a much more harmonious way. And I think I have a solution for that with this whole platform I built.
It's collaborative, and it reminds me a little bit of the teamwork that you were talking about earlier. As a, as a college kid, as a naval guy too, a Navy guy.
And once you're through with being out of the bunker, are you going to get out and teach? Travel around and do your clinics and things like that. Still, you still want to do that?
Yeah, I mean, it's on a back burner for now, for sure, right?
Yeah.
There's also a point in time that you come in life where you stop admiring and you start to contribute, right? Like that's like the next phase of everything. Not that I don't admire Matt's, right, or any of these guys, but also being where I was at 28, we created something special together. But that was also a lot of work, right? That wasn't like some people look at it and say, "Oh, wow, you fell into the luckiest job in the world." Like I did create that. Right?
Yeah,
like
you designed it and you cultivated it, you watered it, and there were probably some difficult moments that you had to get through.
Right, and so it's and I admired and I did it with Max, right? Like to his credit, but I put him on it was all about that. Whereas now I can start to actually, from all my experiences, I think possibly contribute and make our sport better, which is the true goal of what I've been trying to do for 2 years here.
Yeah, so, I think I read something. It was pretty incredible. It's over 6,000 private lessons, something like that. Is that?
Yeah, we did. I think we did 6,000. Yeah,
man.
No, 6,000 participants.
Participants. Okay, yeah. 6,000. I knew 6,000 was the number. I was like, wow, that's a heck of a record right there.
Yeah, I mean, over the years, 4 per court, you and Mott, so 8 per time. That's a ton of sessions. And one of my favorite parts, and I said this on our Instagram Live on Wednesday, is one of my favorite parts is you mentioned earlier how you would improvise and connect with people quickly. You'd remember the 8 people's names. You would do 50% or more of the intro and the dynamic warm-up, and then you just be honest with people and say, "Hey, I sweat a lot. Let's hug it out now," because you're not going to want to hug me in about an hour and a half. And that's how you run those. Like when you said sweat equity on a coach's part, I think you know what you're talking about.
No, thanks. Yeah, I mean WoW wouldn't have gone for as long as it had.
Yeah,
it was feeding balls out of a basket, right? Like that way, and Matt and I both we didn't really know how to do it any other way, which was kind of, he had his court and then I had my court. And it was a good match, right? We had a good repertoire and back and forth. And, he validated me in so many ways. Right. And I think, I think I can take the credit that I might've validated him with my background and the business structure that I put together with it. And it was a nice thing that we had. It was really fun. Like she's traveling around in an RV and going to people's backyards to play tennis with a world #1 tennis player. It was really special.
I mean, honestly, dude, it was even fun for us, whether a participant or host pro or whatever. It was fun for all of us, and it was a window into what you guys do and how Spartan and stoic you live when you're on the road. You guys aren't drinking. You guys aren't going out. You guys are working and sweating and having a shower and replenishing with some water or Gatorade or whatever. It was excellent.
Yeah, no, it was work, right? But it was fun work.
Yeah.
Right. And it was simple living too, right? It was
the best.
The best part of that whole experience was doing tennis, because in a way too, when I was out on the court with you guys doing those events, it was for me better than real life in a lot of ways, because I get the best version of you, right? And not that you're not getting like I'm a different person, but you're getting the best version of me too. So we are having this moment together where we're all on our best behavior.
Jeez, look at you! Another allegory for global tennis professionals.
Yeah, well, but it was that part was so great, right? Because I got the best version of you, AJ, right? It was the best. Like not that you're not a great guy, but I will never get a better version of you than that moments that we had there, right? And you go back to regular living, and you realize also some things too, that you're not really special. Nobody's special until you do the special thing that you're doing. Mm-hmm. But then once that's done, you're a regular dude too, right? Like, so some people lose sight of that. They think that they're special all the time and think that they need special treatment. But really, when you with what you're good at, you do it, you get acknowledged for it, but then after that, it's like, hey, back to normal and being a regular dude.
How many clinics did Joe Schmeckelmeyer come to?
Joe Schmuckatelli?
Yeah, Schmuckatelli. I thought it was Schmeckelmeyer. So Schmuckatelli, Schmeckelmeyer. You know, how many clinics did they come to?
Yeah, he was there 20 times, 30 times.
Repeat offender, huh?
Yeah. I like Joe. Joe's like my favorite dude.
Yeah,
I love it.
No, I thought this was a great idea. I remember when AJ, you guys came to Dallas a few times, and I thought, man, I think you went to Dallas Country Club and went to Lakewood. I wish we would have had you here at Bent Tree, because I remember AJ's asking a couple of times, like, hey, you need to have these guys. 'Cause these guys are really Glen Eagles. I think you came up to Glen Eagles. I think you all visited Dallas several times. So you were with in the old Winnebago and just kind of motoring around down the Texas area, right?
It started in Matt's Winnebago, and which I commandeered at the beginning, and we put like life-size pictures of ourselves all over it, and I was driving it around Sun Valley, and it was really fun. And then, you know, it was me, him, and our photographer Tim Brown. And
Tim, I remember Tim.
Yeah, but it was tight for 3 dudes.
I'm sure.
So then we upgraded to but we earned it, right? Like we did 3 years in that thing, and then we upgraded to a 37-footer with pullouts, 2 pullouts, and that was life altering and changing.
Wait, did you drive most of the miles yourself? Were you the main driver, or did you all take turns? Just out of curiosity.
Well, we took turns. Matt's was always because you know you always got into the fight of who's going to drive, so it was always defaulted that after an event, Matt's was going to be the driver, unless he said no, I don't want to drive, and he always did drive. Like I mean, he did some of the big long hauls too, like through the night, because that guy he always pushed himself. Like I mean. He just always pushed himself, and whoever drove, the rule was they also got to pick the music. So his music was always like the old school stuff, which was great.
You've heard plenty of Van Morrison in your day, I bet, from Mott's, huh?
Yeah. Like I mean, Dylan, right? Like is his big thing, and and I always, when I would put mine on, it was stuff. And
I thought he'd be listening to ABBA. You know,
Swedish, yeah.
He didn't listen to no ABBA, huh? No, it wasn't that big. But so was he? Quick question also too: who was the fastest driver? Did people have lead foot, or did you all? Now that you're not driving as much, you know the highway patrol's not looking for you, so you can let us in now. Who was the quickest one, you know, to get someplace?
Yeah, it topped out at 72.
Downhill with the wind, huh?
I mean, Matt's was probably he was safer than I was. Like it would take us a little bit longer to get to places, but he just would listen to jams and cruise.
Loved it.
Right. Yeah, that's fun stuff. That sounds like that would have been a fun life for a couple of years, just kind of touring the U.S. and just kind of hanging out, stopping at places, and you know, hey, let's go over here for just a second. Let's see what's over here, and check out an old restaurant or maybe a
historic site,
landmark.
Cool.
Let's stop here and let's see what's happening at this place for a couple of seconds, and then crack the rackets out. Maybe even did you all ever do that? Did you ever stop at a tennis court, just like, hey, let's go over here for a second, just kind of veer off the road?
In the beginning, we did, right? Like I mean, in the beginning, it was more about that because it was an evolving thing. But as it went on, I in retrospect, I wish we may have done more of it, but it became more of a here we go do this, we did this 7 days. And because stopping it got a little tough, but in the beginning, the first couple of years was more like that. Yeah.
Hey, speaking of a couple of years and how you've been working for 2 years on the computer and devising global tennis professionals, about 3.5 years ago, you told me about a project about neurotennis, and I loved it. The idea of audio feedback with virtually every shot on your body as a wearable. And I'm not huge on necessarily having to have a cat eye on my bicycle or having to have a activity tracker or whatever, but this is a whole new thing that has to do with how people learn. Tell us a little bit about neurotennis and if that's a project for you and Mats in the future.
Yeah, thanks, man. Well, that's been a heck of a project and something we're really excited about and hope the community responds to it as well. We created a device 6 years in the making. We just released it, soft opening in August, and now we're having a major push. but it's a two-way communication wearable that goes on your hitting wrist. It senses the action of you striking a tennis ball.
Mm-hmm.
It gives you a command off of your shot or your opponent's shot. So it comes preloaded with, I think we have 240 of the most common errors that we've seen in doing all of our WOW sessions. And we've hardwired it with a pre-programmed lesson so you can start to use it right away. And yeah, anything that requires constant repetition requires constant reminders, right? If you remember watching Tom Brady at the Super Bowl, he had a thing on his wrist and it said "Stay on toes, rotate shoulders," but he had bad apostrophes and he got a lot of flack for not knowing.
He had the grocer's apostrophes, like possessive, not plural.
Yes, yes. But even he is using constant reminders, right? So this is it's constant reminders and commands or instructions, and you can customize it to say whatever you want.
Awesome.
So like if I hit the ball, it would tell you to split step.
Yeah.
If you're doing cross-court forehands, you can make it so you're going out and it says recover back to the middle. You can put your coach's voice in it, and again, customize it to whatever lesson plan you want to give your student. So instead of having to do and say the same things over and over again, you can now focus on the bigger picture, have the device work for you, or the player can take your voice when they go on a trip, right? And they're just out there hitting with their friends, and they can get a lesson from you of whatever you program for them. It's really exciting. Yeah.
Well, I think you need to put a shot guard on it, something like that. And if you hit a bad shot, it goes like that. It's like, don't do that, dummy. Oh, okay, yeah. It gives you a little cattle kind of prod.
Great point. There's a guy that because right now we're handling a lot of the support for it, right? Like people call in and how do I do this and how do I do that? And there's a gentleman in Florida, Mike, I won't say his last name.
Yeah.
And he says, it is like an electric dog collar without the electric shock. And it keeps telling me to move my feet after I hit a shot. And he goes, it's the greatest thing. I've been waiting for this my whole life. And so for us, right, we go, fantastic.
Yeah.
Because that's the point, right? Like you want somebody in your ear always to tell you what to do. And if it's just as simple as move your feet, or watch the ball.
Yeah, the contact. Yeah, head still, that kind of thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And those are your problems and your issues. Every time I feed it, you can make it have a command every shot. You can make it every other shot. You can make it once every 10 shots, and you find your niche with it. And we're really excited about it.
Well, I was attracted to this 3-4 years ago when you told me about it, and clearly I want one. And I had no idea you've been working on it for 6 years. Not 4. That's amazing.
Where can somebody find that, just in case that they're listening? And can somebody find that on the internet right now? Do you have a website?
Neurotennis.com.
NEUROTNNIS.com. Simple.
TENN.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Tennis. Good.
Tennis.
Yeah, I love it.
How about tennis?
Sometimes our rapper friend Little Tennis goes with the alternate spelling.
TNNS.
So
right?
TENNS. Gosh, that's good. Good
the more
catch.
formal tennis.
Yeah, the full deal.
Right.
Well, gosh, that was awesome. What about Global Tennis Professionals? You want to tell the folks at home the website on that?
Sure, yeah. Go to GTP.com.
GTP.com. So simple.
Go
to
GTP.com.
GO2GTP.com. Easy. Yep. Folks at home, do that. It is time for the third set, baby.
That's
CB1.
Right. We're ready to go. A little pop culture question. You ready?
Yes.
Strap in, Cameron. You ready to go?
Let's go.
Let's have some fun with this.
First band you saw in concert?
Vanilla Ice.
Oh, wow. Was that in Florida, A1A kind of area?
There's a teepee hut here, and we waited out in line. We went 10 kids and 20 adults. It was like the hottest thing at the moment.
And this was like 1991, roughly 92. Did you have the eyebrows with some notches in it?
No, but it was a phase, right?
Yeah.
Rapper with some street knowledge.
Rob Van Winkle is from 2-3 minutes from here in Richardson, Texas.
Well, he says he's from Oak Cliff, but he's really not from Oak Cliff. He's from Carrollton,
he's from this affluent, nice suburb up here. Yeah,
it's a little bit of embellishment, just a wee bit right there. But he say he was tough and he grew up in the hood. But the hood of Carrollton, I don't know about that. If there's too many tough places over there, but Vanilla Ice. So yeah, he was quite big at the time. I think, and he's still pretty big with his home show. I've caught that every now and then on the Do It Yourself Network. He's building homes. Do you ever see that? Do you all ever check out old Rob's work?
I mean, I'm a fan of his, right? Like it was at 11 years old, I knew every Vanilla Ice song that there was.
Absolutely.
Right? I mean, and so that's like your idol, and you follow his career. You kind of feel bad for what happened, where he went like this for him, but now he resurrected it. It's great to see, right? Like nobody. I don't like seeing anybody have to do that.
Yeah, he seems like a nice guy on his show.
Great story.
Yeah,
great.
If you could hear a band, what band would you want to hear? You sound like you're a music guy. So, what band if you would like to see somebody? Is there somebody you haven't seen?
Vanilla Ice is my first concert. I'm not a music guy.
No. Oh yeah, you are. You are. Van Morrison. He wants to go see Van Morrison because he's listened.
Because he's heard the CDs so many times. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. No, I'm not a music guy.
Really?
Like I told you. Yeah, I told you my music is.
your European
synthetic sort of drum beats. Yeah.
Calvin Harris. You like Calvin Harris, I guess, huh?
Well, but I think isn't who? Oh no, that was Avicii. Yeah, I mean, all those guys.
He's a Scottish.
Avicii, yeah.
They
you like Post Malone? That's another Dallas, Texas guy.
Yeah, like I only know him because of the Wow song.
I see.
Right? People keep saying like, "Have you heard this Wow song?" And I listened to it and I liked it because it's got a cool little ring to it.
Yeah.
Right? I'm not into the. I'm really just not a music guy.
Gotcha.
But if you're into music and you're in a band, would you be the lead singer, lead guitarist, drummer, keyboards, or bass guitarist? Or would you be playing cowbell? Bang, 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 bang.
I play piano.
You play
Keys,
piano?
piano.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you play the piano? Do you play the piano?
I taught myself on YouTube.
Incredible.
Really? So you have at your house? Did you work on it while you've been in the lockdown?
No, I taught myself in the Navy because you're on deployment and you have a lot of downtime, and they had a keyboard in the officer's wardroom, and there was a guy playing "Send Almost Fire" theme song, and I remember going, man, how awesome would it be to be able to do that and not play chopsticks when you see a piano?
Yeah.
You're right.
So teach me a few of the chords, and then I downloaded YouTube and learned the song. So flash forward to, and I'm a poser piano player because all I do is memorize how to play the keys.
I see.
And we were doing an event in Palm Springs, and we were at a house, and somebody asked me the question of, what other hobbies do you have? And I said, and I said straight up, I'm a poser piano player. And then they're like, he's like, what songs do you play? I say, "Send Almost Fire" theme song. And he goes, "David Foster, nice to meet you." And I didn't know who he was, right? That was really cool.
Oh, that's incredible. You didn't know who he was, and he's like a massive producer. In fact, he's the keyboardist for the One Hand and Backhand Boys.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So did you play the theme song to "St. Elmo's Fire" for him?
Oh no.
No, come on! You gotta do that. That's such a classic song. You remember the movie, right? Cameron wasn't even old enough to even watch the original.
Yeah,
movie.
that was like 85, 86, somewhere in there.
That was the Brat Pack.
Song, though. Beautiful song.
Yeah. John Parr, is that who it was? I think that's the name of the pianist, or the rock star.
Rock star, something like that. First paid job. Did you ever have a job?
I worked for the Boston Red Sox.
Boston.
Whoa, what'd you do
No,
for
wait
the
a minute. Yeah,
Sox?
let's do that. Let's talk about this.
I was ground crew / ball boy for the Red Sox. And my claim to fame for that was I was 16 years old. I'll just tell you the story real quick.
Yeah. Sure.
Remember Troy O'Leary?
Sure.
The right fielder for the Sox.
Mm-hmm.
He was up to bat. Well, getting the ball boy job was like coveted, and I was begging. Casey was my manager at the time. I was in charge of the ground crew. We would just sit in the ground crew alley at Fenway, and one day out of nowhere, he goes, "Jump in there." So I remember Mo Vaughn was at bat, and my legs were shaking uncontrollably, and thank God no balls got hit to me that day. My first play was on Troy O'Leary. Hit a ball down the right field line. It came off the stool, and I kind of barehanded it like this, and I flung it into the crowd. And I think that I'm real special, right? And Casey goes, "Don't ever do that again." So flash forward of about 3 weeks, and Troy O'Leary's up to bat again. Mike Stanley's on first. It's the bottom of the fifth. And O'Leary whips the ball down the right field line. And to this day, I swear to God, the ball was foul. So I pick it up, and I gave it to the kid that I had promised it to. And I coming back to my chair, and my buddy's like, "Dude, that was a fair ball." It was a fair ball. And I turn around, and the umpire's waving his arms, and I can hear what all the fans are saying. They're like, "F you, ball boy."
Ball boy.
And the next 10 seconds, I don't remember anything, right? Like the moments of passion where people say, I can't remember. I don't remember, but you can see in the highlights, I'm hiding my face. It was, that was unbelievable.
Cam, how old were you at the time? Teens?
16.
16.
Yeah.
You had your Bill Buckner moment, huh?
Yeah, it was. I mean, thank God there was no social media back then. It's on YouTube. It's if you type in something like "fair ball kid" with worst reaction or something.
You're still there. You're a legend. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's a cool. Did you have a uniform? It said like with the Red Sox. Sometimes they have uniforms. Or did you get a little windbreaker with the Red Sox on it?
No, they now they're professional, right? They give them a uniform, and I think they're specifically ball people. But no, at the time, ground crew just filled in as a ball boy.
Mm-hmm.
So we had like these blue pants and a shirt, and it was like, hey, just go field some major league ground balls.
Yeah, and right there, that's a thin line too. If I remember Fenway, between where you're sitting and the line, that's a fairly short distance. I mean, it's really narrow out there, isn't it?
Very narrow, very narrow.
Did you hear some choice language out there sometimes?
Well, just on that one time. It was horrible. Like, looking back, I mean, looking back, it's great that actually happened, but it was really horrible at the time. It was a total accident, though.
So did you ever keep score in the Green Monster?
No, I never. But we would go back there and check it out, and we wipe down all the seats. If you want one more story with
please do.
I can't tell that story.
Come on.
Another time.
All right, good.
Are there really a bunch of little creatures crawling around back there in the monster? I've heard that it's an infestation of small creatures that most people don't like around there.
Fenway's pretty gnarly.
Yeah. No, it's an iconic place. That's a really cool story because I love baseball. Baseball is my second sport compared to tennis. I love baseball, and I'd love to go to Fenway one time and see a Red Sox game up there. That'd be really cool. And you did it for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. How long did you do that?
I did it one summer, and then the next summer it was during. So sorry, I think I was 18 because I went to Plebe Summer in '99.
Nice.
And they had the All-Star game there, and I remember being at boot camp, locked up against the wall, thinking I could be the ball boy at the All-Star game. But,
that's a great story. Favorite movie, TV show? What do you like to watch? I'm sure you've had plenty of time to watch some things, haven't you?
Yeah, I tell you, right now I'm into this show Kingdom. Right? Have you heard of this one about the MMA? And
no.
It's kind of unreal, and it's strangely enough, I'm watching it, and it's very eerily similar to coaches in the tennis world.
Really?
This coach runs a gym called Navy Street, but none of the the fighters can afford to pay. So they go in, and then they get good, and they leave them. But, there's a whole underlying story behind it, like that's, the underbelly of the UFC, and it's, a little tough. But right now I'm, like, super into that. It's really good.
Is that Netflix?
Netflix, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how to turn on Netflix at our house, so sorry. I'll probably Google it. I'll see if I can watch it from there. I'll have to have somebody tell me how to turn on Netflix. Breakfast, lunch, or dinner? What's your favorite time? Do you like to have breakfast? Do you like the big hearty breakfast, or lunch more, or maybe more like a big steak at dinner time? That kind of thing. What do you like?
No, none of them. It's like I'm off. My time schedule's so off. I'm at like 10 and 4 and maybe something in the late evening.
You eat breakfast?
At 10 o'clock.
10 o'clock, yeah.
10.
Is that good?
So
like
kind of a brunch and a very late lunch at 4.
I told you I've been isolated for the last 8 months, man. I'm all taken away from reality.
So are you like a bagel guy, like with a schmear and in like a glass of tea, hot tea, or do you eggs and that kind of stuff?
Yeah, like my girlfriend of 6 years now, 7 years. She's big into healthy eating in the morning. So she's Chinese and is always cooking up something nice.
So a bowl of Fruit Loops probably doesn't hit the table.
No. Big no.
All right. Speaking of dinner, now we know you would invite us, David, AJ, and myself, the brain, 4 people that you'd invite over for dinner at the Lickle residence, dinner party, kind of like a Mount Rushmore. And it can be anybody in history. It could be military. It could be tennis.
Yeah, inter-era.
Yeah.
And you can go entertainment, fictitious, or history.
Yeah, we've had some interesting guests that are going to join us at the soiree. So who are you inviting? Who'd be of interest that would be out there?
Yeah, Admiral Rickover, father of the nuclear navy.
Yes.
Mike Tyson.
Iron Mike.
Yeah, he's unbelievable. Probably Bush, 41 and 43 together.
Interesting.
Father, son.
Interesting.
To see how they interact with one another.
Yeah.
So is Mike Tyson, is this when he's like, killing people, or is this like when he's Iron Mike, or is this like Tattoo Mike when he's
or now when he's about to be back to killing people?
Yeah, there's something about him that's just fascinating and captivating. Right? He's raw and he's real, right? And like when you get that with people, there's something that's very alluring and endearing. So just to be around that, I would enjoy very much.
He was a badass back in the day. I remember watching Iron Mike boxing. That was I could figure out how to watch that. And he was usually on
53
ABC.
seconds on for a minute and a half, knocking guys out early, like how Steffi Graf would beat people 2-1 or 0-0 or something.
In about 30 minutes with the warm up. Yeah, he was amazing back in that time. I mean, it was just unbelievable to when I was like 84, 5, 6. Boy, you didn't want to meet that guy in a dark alley. That dude was just lethal.
I have a boxing glove signed that a buddy got, first signed by Evander Holyfield, where it says like Psalm. He's very Christian or religious. Yeah. It says some Psalm, and then underneath it, it's signed by Tyson, and it says, "F yeah, I bit his ear."
Oh, wow.
Wow. Yeah, that was. Yeah,
what a great glove, and don't eBay that son of a gun.
Yeah,
and that's Mike being Mike. That's Mike being the most compelling athlete in probably his century.
Well, and I think whoever, because the guy who got it is when I lived in Vegas, ran a sports memorabilia shop, and Mike would come in to sign, and so but they'd get the gloves from Evander first, and then have him inscribe after that. Because I don't think Evander would have signed it.
No, same time.
No, you got to have the order of operations right on that one.
I always remember Mike Tyson being, what was it, The Hangover or something like that? The first movie, The Hangover. Yeah, I'm always fascinated that Iron Mike was in that movie, and he was with a tiger, and these guys were dreamed of Mike Tyson. It's like he was off the charts there for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah. So good. Anybody else for the dinner, or just you could have more than 4 if you wanted to?
That's my 4.
That's your 4.
It. That's perfect.
What are you serving? Just out of curiosity. So we're going to have steak and Lowenbrow. Are we having
Benihana to go.
Benihana. I like the Benihana. Yes.
To go.
To go.
To go. I don't know.
East Coast, West Coast. I figure I might know what you're going to go with this.
You've lived in both, so you got to answer this one.
East or West?
East Coast for sure for me.
East Coast like up north, or East Coast like where you're at right now?
Where I'm at right now.
Yeah, you like the Florida, more the hot, humid, that kind of weather?
Yep. And yeah.
Mountains or beach? Are you a mountain guy, beach guy?
Depends on my mood. I can go with both.
What do you like the winter time of the mountains or the summertime, or just kind of it just kind of depends?
I like them both. I could go either way, like anytime, anywhere.
Sunrise or sunset? Are you a morning person, or do you like to stay up late and kind of?
It used to be sunrise, but now in my later years, I'm more sunset.
More old age now. That's right. Yeah.
Old age.
Old age of 35.
He's not even 40, this guy.
Soon, very soon.
Yeah.
He's about ready to go to Denny's, tonight and get the
you guys
special.
are keeping me up late. Like I'm usually already in bed. Right?
Love it.
What's your favorite season? Are you a summer, fall, winter, spring person? Which of the what's that?
Spring.
Spring. Interesting. Spring in Florida?
Yes.
That sounds like a nice deal.
So good.
What about favorite holiday? What's your favorite holiday?
4th of July.
That's a good one right there. We've had that mentioned in the past.
Yeah.
Yeah, the 4th of July. Do you like listening to Bruce Springsteen sing, Born on the 4th of July, that kind of stuff? Or are you more, there's
Just everything when it's patriotic and it puts the country on a platform. I like that.
Yeah, no, I'm totally with you right there. What do you like to do in your spare time when you have a spare moment? What do you like to do?
Play tennis.
Play tennis, really? Just play tennis and that's it, huh?
Yeah.
Clay tennis? We're going to move into the third set, so I'll ask you that. Is clay your favorite surface, or what do you like to play on?
No, hard court. I'm too big for clay. I don't slow down. I just keep going.
So that means, do you like to play indoor or outdoor hard court?
Well, if I'm going to play to win, indoors. But outdoors, you can't beat it when you're under the sun, right?
Yeah.
So at the Naval Academy, did you have both indoor and outdoor? Were you able to play both inside and outside, or did you have to go to another club?
They built a great new complex that I've been to a couple times, right across the Severn. But I wasn't there for that. We had to go to another club. It was called Big Vanilla Racket Club. And pile into a van and drive 20 minutes off campus.
Wow.
But this new facility is next to campus, basically, so the kids can come over and start yelling and screaming if you wanted to buy their beverages.
Well, it's still, but it's still off campus. It's across the Severn, so you got to take a car and go over the bridge, the Severn Bridge, and go in there. And it's like a military base. Still, you have to have your government ID card and get authorization to go in there.
Most embarrassing moment in tennis? Did you ever have an embarrassing moment in tennis, playing tennis? Besides living in a closet?
Yeah, actually, when we had an exhibition once, and I think about it, actually, strangely enough, we were playing in New Jersey somewhere at an exhibition, and there was a ball that I couldn't get to, and the racket came out of my hand, and it went into the crowd, and it hit a guy here.
Oh.
And he was like, no problem, right? But at the next point I came over, and I looked, and there was some blood there, and I'm like, oh my God. And I was legit embarrassed.
Oh,
right?
I'm sure.
It was so silly, and it was it was the worst. So that was, an embarrassing moment.
So did you get Matt to sign a ball for him or something, and then
afterwards?
Yeah,
whatever I could do, but I felt very badly.
What's your favorite tournament?
The Aussie Open.
Oh, really? Yeah. I'm sure you've been down there numerous times, right?
Yeah, we were doing WOW over there for the first 3 or 4 years, and that was like the most fun place to go visit.
So did you get in a big Winnebago and drive around Australia?
No, but we did events at like Kooyong, right, and a couple other places while we were there. It was so fun.
Did you all ever make it over to Perth, or did you mostly stay in Melbourne, Sydney, in that area?
No, just right there. We would go there for the tournament and then just fly right home.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Nice place. I've been there a couple of times. I love Melbourne. I think that's a city I could live in. It's really, really nice. I like the people and like everything about what's going on there. In your career, who would you have liked to have played? Would you have liked to have played, somebody? I know you played on the pro circuit a little bit. Is there somebody that you would have really liked to play? Would you like to have played, Pete Sampras, let's say, or maybe Jim Courier, Andre Agassi? Is there somebody that,
No interest in that. They would have tattooed me, right? Like, no. I got to live and play with and spar and hit with like every world number one that's out there. It's Matt's to his. He really opened up his world to me, and I got to hit with every person that I ever could imagine I ever want to hit with.
Did you get to hit with Andy Murray? Did you ever hit with Andy?
Well, I didn't get to hit with the guys that are presently playing. I got to hit with every legend that I always looked up to.
Right.
See, I bet you would like to hit it with Andy, wouldn't you?
It's great. Like, Cameron, if you ever want to bang the ball around a bit, I'm happy to get it together with you, mate.
That's a good one. That was good.
He might invite you over for some haggis too, right? Would you invite him over for some haggis?
I'd rather eat what he's having with the good Chinese food in his house. That must be amazing.
The Benihana? Andy likes Benihana.
I want the homemade from his girlfriend. Right. I want the real deal, man.
So that's the real Chinese. It's so good.
So good.
So did you ever meet Nicky Kiggs? Did you ever meet Nick Kyrgios down in Australia?
Nope. Because I stopped going there maybe 4 years ago because it just got to be too much to go there just for WoW.
I
Yeah.
see.
It was, and that's where Matt's actually had his kidney issue.
Yeah, like in his hotel in the bathroom or something, right?
Yeah, that
Yeah.
was a tough one.
Oh,
I'm sure that that I had a similar situation. My prostate acted up in New York City, so that wasn't any fun either. A couple
U.S.
years
Open,
ago.
though. I
U.S.
mean,
Open.
yeah.
That was. I can empathize with Matt's. Having something like that in a foreign country. That's not a lot of fun. Then you don't know your surroundings. But I'm sure he's fine now. With his kidneys, is he fine?
Yeah, he had to have a blood transfusion.
Oh man.
Yeah, it was a scary situation.
Wow. Yeah, those aren't fun. Yeah, especially a long way away like that.
That was when we first had started WoW too,
Uh-huh.
and I remember we posted because the word was getting around the tournament and I think the word was like Matt's had kidney failure
Oh.
or something, and we put out our first like real post on Vilander on Wheels that said, "Here's the facts of what happened," and then within 10 minutes, the power of the media was, "Okay, here's the story," and it was according to the company Vilander on Wheels.
Uh-huh.
Which made it sound like we were a huge company, and it was really just me and him.
It was 2-3 guys, yeah.
Favorite tennis player? Who's your favorite besides Mott's? Who's your favorite tennis
had
player?
one.
What's that? You don't
Never
have
had
one?
one.
Really?
Never had one.
Nobody you really kind of not the King, Roger, or maybe Nick Kyrgios. I can't believe Nick Kyrgios. Nick, come on, what's the?
He's bracing. Mate, I mean, you call yourself a journalist, mate. Piss off. Next question.
Did you have any superstitions or rituals when you played, like not stepping on the line? I know you had to square corners, so in the Navy. Did you square corners out there on the tennis court?
Same clothes. If I was on a streak, I'd wear the same clothes.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That same hat, same everything.
Same hat, underwears, same shirt, same shorts, everything.
So if you have kids, once you have kids, would you want them to play tennis? Competitively, would you want them to?
No, I think if they wanted to, I would. But I think that we chose a very hard, unless Global Tennis Professionals changes the culture.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a very hard place to navigate once your career is done. Business side of it, right? Like, I mean, we're as coaches, right? You're grinding it out consistently, and with all the issues that are out there and prevalent. So if the culture can change with GTP, then yes, right? Because then he can pursue or she can pursue what they love with a security blanket. Whereas right now people are trying to live in the tennis industry, right? And there's zero security, there's zero accountability, and that's a tough way to live for everybody.
What sport would you have played if it wasn't tennis? I think baseball, probably. Yeah.
For sure.
And then last question. So this is it right now. So we've been with you about an hour and a half, a little over that. So if you wouldn't have been involved in sports, what would you be doing now? I think this is a good question to end with right here. What if you wouldn't be, because you're a sports guy, obviously. Would you have stayed in the Navy, do you think? No,
I'd probably be working maybe in the nuclear world somehow, right? Or something along those lines. I mean, who knows where life really would have taken you. I always had a motto that I would figure it out. Like, I mean, I don't know what it would have been, but I said, I'm going to go play tennis and I'll play till the money runs out and I'll figure it out after that. And I got lucky enough with an opportunity with WoW, and then that became a career and a passion. And then it went, we did things that I never thought we would have done with it. And now I've been able to branch it off into these other things, and hopefully it can continue. And I can have a contribution to the sport in a positive way that's not just going to people's backyards to play tennis.
Yeah. Although that was tremendous too, but we're so proud of your accomplishments and even more about the present and the future. So well done, Cam. Really fun.
Thanks for your time. Now tell the audience again where they can find you at a couple of places. I think that you'd mentioned a few minutes ago. Tell them again one more time.
Yeah, it's I'll spell it all out, but it's globaltennisprofessionals.com, or you can use the go to gtp.com. And then for neurotennis, right, if you want to check that out, we got a great website, neurotennis.com. And then WoW is obviously, you just Google WoW and WoW Sports.
Easy.
You'll find us.
Yeah. Or just type in your name, Cameron Lickle. I'm sure everything comes up too, right?
Yeah. Or just hit one of our Instagram or Facebook posts. I've put links at the bottom.
Well, thanks, Cameron. We appreciate your time. Go to sleep now. You can go home and go to sleep. Or you're at home, I guess, so you can go to sleep.
Thank you guys for the interest in me and asking all the questions. And kudos to you guys for creating, because I know how hard it is to create, and it's good job. Good job for what you guys are doing.
Well, we'd like maybe have you back for an update at some point. With your you've got some interesting things that are going on. Maybe in a few months, if you get this global coaches thing working, and I'd like to maybe come back and have a repeat with the great Cameron Lickle, if you were so inclined.
I'd love to get you guys in on it. So I'll hit you guys up offline about the details.
Well, thank you.
We're in, buddy. Thank you, Cam.
2 thumbs up, right? Yeah. So, all right. Good night. Good night, Lieutenant. We'll see you later.
Take care, bud. Thank you.
All right. Should we cue the music for old Jimmy Campbell?
Let's do
it. Should we do it one more time?
Oh, exit
Exit music right there. Take a couple seconds there. Hopefully,
that was a blast, CB.
Hopefully it won't go like 2 or 3 times, because with Margot, that was quite interesting. Yeah, Cameron, very nice guy. All right, everybody. Thanks for listening to Season 1, Episode 64 of At the Net Podcast. Join us in 2 weeks. We're going to be off next week because we're going to be down in Austin.
And we're not really off. We are broadcasting live from an ITF Futures men's event in Austin, Texas.
Yes, we're going to be down at the Austin Tennis Academy with the 2020 HEB Pro Tennis Open down at with Christo van Rensburg.
That's right.
Yes.
Van Rensburg.
It's Van
Rensburg.
There we go. He has a much better command of the English language than I do. But in 2 weeks, we'll be talking with Dr. Jorge Valverde, right?
Oh, that guy is so amazing. I can't wait.
Noted tennis psychiatrist or psychologist?
Sports in general and psychology mainly, and just visual training, and an amazing thing, remarkable resource for players and coaches.
Yep. Also, we'll be on Wednesday night on our Instagram page, 8 o'clock with tennis shorts, right? We have a lot of fun.
9 Eastern, 6 Pacific, 8 o'clock here.
So I know AJ always asks what
what's in Craig Bell's tennis shorts,
which is absolutely nothing.
2 pockets, 2 legs, 2 questions, 1 improvised, 1 topical.
For 1 hour. So that's on at 8 p.m. on our Instagram page, At the Net Podcast. And lastly, be sure to tell a friend or friends, as we hopefully like your peeps. Hopefully, right?
Oh, I know we do.
Oh, we do. Okay, yeah, we will like your peeps. Hopefully, they'll like us right there. Well, that's the tennis news as it seems to us. From Dallas, Texas. Good night, everybody. Appreciate Dave the Brain from back of the house staying around with us tonight. So, Cameron, see you later. Good night, everybody.
Thank you, everybody. Good night.